we are very excited to welcome, and it's going to take some getting used to for me, Utah GM Bill Armstrong. Welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. Listen, you guys are one of the best shows. You guys had such a great impact on us, and it got our message out to the fans. It was such a positive thing. I know Craig's not here today on the show, but he's done a great job with you guys, and you guys are absolutely 100% one of our favorites to kind of come on and do this show. And listen, we go way back, and we've the Christmas special at my house. It won't be the same.
Let's start it off with that. Like, we know how busy this time of year is for you anyway,
Yeah.
like just generally getting ready for the draft. But now you got to throw in a move in that. How are you settling in, and how is the move going for you personally?
Well, I can just tell you, when I learned our fate, I looked out into the patio out back, and the our two Frenchies were actually upside down sunbathing, and I thought to myself, "You two have no idea what's coming your way, but you're going to be cold. You better enjoy that sun now." So, yeah, the move it's not easy on the staff. There's always difficulties in doing that, and that's a tough place to move out of. You're leaving Arizona, and it feels lost at times. And I don't think it's really clicked in. At the same time, we're really excited about coming here. The welcome of the fans, the generosity of the people. It's been, they always say Utah shows up, and they do. They're so excited about getting us out here and getting our team. It's an incredible response. So we're super excited and very grateful for the fans out here. They've taken it to a new level.
Well, the draft, it's less than a month away. So where are you and your scouting staff? I know you're doing scouting meetings all this week and last week. Where are you in the scouting process as of today?
Yeah, well, we're right now we're at the point where the list is complete, and you're obviously really excited about kind of learning who the players are in your area. So that's a huge thing for the staff, and the list. Now the two head guys take the list back and kind of let it soak in for a bit, and really kind of just absorb on who we're going to get, and then I'll touch base with those guys at the end of the week a little bit more. And obviously, we've got to go to the combines, the NHL combine, and interview the players and see that. And then we have our own combine, and then we really beat the list up over the next 2 weeks before the draft. But it's an exciting time because you can kind of sense and kind of see who you're going to get.
It's funny, though, because last year we talked about that first 5 picks was kind of where that tier was for last year's draft. How would you describe this year's draft? Is it top heavy? We've heard a lot of big defensemen are up in this year's draft. How would you describe it coming into this year's draft?
Well, I would say there's some unique players. I think that there's a consensus in the NHL about the number 1 pick, but after that, I think it's a wide open draft. I think when you guys cover it, you're going to be surprised at where the draft goes to, and everybody's going to say, "Oh, I didn't see the guy in that range." I think it's wide open, to be honest with you, and it has a lot to do with what you talked about. Some of the big D men that are available in the draft, the fact that you have every team in the top 10 probably has a different list order, so it's going to be all over the place. And there's going to be some surprises in the top 10. And when I say surprises, they're surprises to the media. They're not surprises to the teams that are in the top 10. You see guys on the mock drafts, around 15 or 16 or 17, and everybody's like, yeah, they have those guys back there because nobody wants to admit that they're going in the top 5. So I think there's a whole bunch. There's going to be a lot of surprises in the top 10.
Talk about surprises. Like, you did that to us last year. Leah had spent weeks coming up with names to fill in the top 30, and then you guys,
it was like the one name I didn't have in a
agreed,
notebook
though,
for them.
Other scouts said that, oh yeah, he was there, but clearly we're media and we had no idea. So you did it to us last year too.
Yeah, the goodness is that when we picked that last year, we went up and announced it, and there was like dead silence in the whole stadium. Like, nobody's like, "Huh? Who'd they pick? Like, who's that guy?" So, that's we're able to do that, because of where our fan base and that. If you're in a city sometimes that that's really into the draft, like the Torontos and the Montreals. And sometimes you see them leak it to they leak it almost to the mock drafts. So that way, when they pick the guy there, it's not such a surprise. So that's good for us, though, because we can usually tell who they're going to pick.
Yeah.
Up there, because we can usually read the report, read all the newspaper articles, and we can see who they're pushing, because they don't want to get to the point where they're picking at 2 or 3, and all of a sudden this guy's on the radar and they pick him, and it's a surprise to their fan base and they get roasted the next day in there. But we didn't really have those issues in Arizona, so we were able to just to kind of pick who we wanted and surprise a lot of people at the draft. And we like the guys that we took there last year. We're really extremely excited about where they play out.
This year, you have 7 picks in the first 3 rounds, which is just a lot, obviously. What is your approach to having that many picks in the first 3?
Well, you definitely have an advantage to plan out who you're going to get, and multiple swings. I think, at this point, we do a lot of studies about what teams have done wrong in the rebuild and what teams have done right. And one of the things that we've learned, if you just keep your picks and you keep swinging, good things are going to pay off. And I really like our scouting staff, and I believe in the job they've done. And you can see that now as our picks start to mature, the Gunthers and the Mosers and all these guys are coming through, the Josh Doans of the world and the Lamroos and the Geekies. Now they're all taking shape, and people can see what our scouting staff has done. So I have a really good. I like the draft. I think there's some depth in the draft, and I believe in our staff. If we just keep, taking swings with our pick, we're going to find our players.
Bill, this is the thing I think everyone wants to know. Will you continue to wear matching suits at the draft this year?
Well, there's only one way to find that. You'll have to tune into the draft day.
Okay, and what are the odds you can give us a hint on maybe the color scheme?
Screw with Craig finding out their draft pick. I want Craig boots on the ground finding out their suits.
I want to leak the suit color.
Taylor.
That's an interesting thing. People are always wondering, like, are you going to do the same thing? Are you going to change now that you're Utah? I mean, you have to wait. It's I can't reveal any of that. That's going to be the excitement of draft day. What goes on, and they all show up in different suits.
It's like, or they reveal the name and logo of Utah
with the suits.
I mean, listen.
Oh, we got all kinds of ideas. We're going
to start some conspiracies.
We got time. So, Bill, you talked about it a little bit already. You talked about the rebuild, and right after the draft, you're going right to free agency. Like within days, you've got to be ready to switch gears from kids to veterans, and you got to look at free agency. Has your plan or this ownership group's plan changed in regards to the rebuild now that you're maybe a new budget and with different spending restraints?
Well, you certainly have some different options now, but I think one of the main things is that we've tried to stick to is keep drafting. Listen, that's how you're going to build a championship. If you look at the number 1 centers, the number 1 Ds, all the top end players that are playing at this point in time in the year, they're all drafted. So we can't get away from drafting. We've got to continue to draft. When we get into free agency, there's deals that we can do that can enhance our young players, but we can't make Logan Cooley or Dylan Guenther any older than they are. So that the rebuild, no matter how you slice it, is still in the 4th year. We can enhance some of our players by some of the players that we can find in free agency. But it also can, you can make a lot of mistakes on free agency day if you get locked into the wrong player for 7 years. Times 8, times 9, it can hurt you down the road. And so we've still got to let our team grow naturally and organically, and making sure that, that the young players continue to get better. We want to do that by putting good players around them, but not necessarily getting into the point where we're filling up our entire salary cap with long-term players.
I want to talk about the RFAs, Hayton, Dursey, JJ Moser, Valimaki. Has there been any progress with those guys, or is that kind of a wait till later in the summer thing?
Sometimes there's no deal until, time's running out on the clock. So, obviously we're continuing to work towards a deal. I have a good feeling that all those contracts are going to get done. It just takes some time and to get the deal in place that works for the player and works for the club. So we'll continue to work on that as the season, the summer moves along. But I have good confidence and good faith that those players want to play in Utah, and we want them back. So I do feel we're going to get deals done.
You know, you got players right now literally all over the world. We know your development staff and your training staff keeps tabs on everybody, but can you give us any insight how some of your players, like the big guys, how Cooley and Keller and how their summers have been so far?
Yeah, it's interesting. We try to give really good feedback when our players are walking out the door. We have a skills coach with us, an analytic coach, and we try to give them programs to go home and do in the summer, not only off the ice, but also on the ice, as far as their skills package to keep developing and keep improving. And one of the things that we look for in players, and that we actually do psychological tests about, is the will to improve, and that really shows up in the summer when the player comes back. And I think our staff has done a good job acquiring those players. It's also us talking about that will to improve and go home in the summer. And Keller's always on the ice. Hayden's always on the ice getting better. So I have a good belief in our players that they're going to put the time in with the plan to improve. And listen, we got to show up. Everybody's got to show up in camp a step bigger, stronger, and faster. And if we can do that, our team's going to take another step next year.
Yeah. Do you want to go ahead?
We talked about those young players too. I talked about Cooley, Gunther, Doan, specifically those guys, and we saw how well they click together and how well this young core is really starting to develop. And I tell you what, they were rocking at the mullet watching these young kids. Do you get excited to see where this next step is for those players? Because clearly they haven't reached their ceiling yet.
No, we get really excited. Last year I think we had 6 20-goal scorers, close to 7, and we're looking to push the pace. Try and hopefully make it 8 this year. If we can do that, we can. That's our team identity, is we can score, and we can improve our defense and take a next step. And our goaltenders could become a little bit better, take a step. You're talking about a team that can push the pace. And take that next step to become better. Hopefully to get into the 80, 85 points in the season. That's something that we can do. It's achievable for us. That's going to take our team eventually the following year to the next step and trying to push to get in the playoffs. But I like where our team is going. I like the work that our players do in the summer. And you can really see it when they come in September. It really pays dividends, and we've got some young, hungry kids. So we got to continue, obviously, to push our group. But I like what our kids are capable of doing in the summer.
We haven't had the chance to talk to you since Connor Ingram won the Masterton. I just wanted to, get your thoughts on what that means, not only for Connor, but also the team as a whole.
Yeah, I think we're really proud of Connor. That's he's overcome some great things in his life to take steps and obviously to be a really good goaltender at this level. It's not easy, and obviously with some of the stuff he's gone through. It shows great resilience, and that's going to not only pay dividends on the ice, but also off the ice for Connor. He's a great human being, and we got a good feeling that he's going to win some bigger awards, that help us lead us to a championship. So he's got a bright future.
Bill, I want to say first, thanks so much during your busy schedule right now. I know you're trying to get this draft nailed down. I'm looking forward to seeing you at the draft, so hopefully we can spend a few more minutes chatting with you then. And then Utah's only a 10-hour drive. And so hopefully we know the PR guy there, so we're kind of hoping we get some PR passes and we can see you up there in Utah. Honestly, can't wait to see what this season brings.
Yeah, whatever you guys need, you let us know. And listen, it's a straight ahead flight. It's 1 hour. Jump on the Delta. It's a quick flight in, and you guys will love it here. And we'll certainly do everything we can to make it your home.
Well, Bill, thank you so much. Really appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to chat with us, and hopefully we'll chat with you again soon. So best of luck with all the busyness over the summer, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me on. Take care.